Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With fishingbooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. Fishingbooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to fishingbooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.
Scree gear is more than apparel. It's a tribute to the relentless, the tireless, the true guardians of the wilderness. It's for those who seek not just a game, but a legacy. Not just a sport, but a way of life. In our gear, you're more than a hunter. You're a story, a tradition, a legend in the making. Scree is your journey, your triumph, your success. Join the working man revolution. Success awaits.
Well, all right. Welcome back to the Survival and Basic Badass podcast with Kevin and Chuck. Today, we're going to talk about getting conned. The con man. I guess the deal is, I figure summer's coming. People are getting ready to take their vacations, get away a little bit. You want to relax. Well, I got to tell you, part of survival is not getting your shit taken from you. And, you know, there's a lot of con men out there. I know when I went to New Orleans, there were just nothing but people all over the street. You know, everybody's like, hey, man, let's shake hands. You don't want to do that. And everybody at the hotels are like, don't shake anybody's hand when you go out there. And you're like, I'm not a dick. What are you talking about? Of course I'm going to shake people's hand. They're like, don't shake anybody's hand. That'll just end bad for you. Turns out they were right. But that's it. You don't want to, go out unprepared. So I thought, let's dig a little deeper, see if we can't come up with some of the more common types of cons. Now, they might not play out exactly like we talk about, but some version of this you might kind of understand, get a feel for, how people hustle. And, man, you get in the city and, you deal with certain types of people. There's a lot of con men out there and a lot of people trying to separate you from your stuff. And, I mean, look at the Republican Party, right? Con men. It's everywhere. They just keep take. And, what are you going to do? Democrat Party? No better. Con men. Any politician you can think of. Con men. Yeah, that's right. So, Kevin, you did some research. You're going to hook us up?
All right, I read that there's three types of people in the world. There's people that are conned and know they've been conned, people that have been conned and don't know they've been conned,
and then con men,
and then people that haven't been conned yet.
Oh, not yet. All right.
Now, one thing I wanted to touch on is like a personal pet peeve of me is I've got a home phone for some reason.
All right.
And I get calls nonstop from people.
Yep.
People trying to sell me cheap energy, people trying to get me to donate to their fake charities. And you would not believe how many free or cheap vacations I've won.
You win vacations?
All the time.
Woo!
But obviously, most of that is a load of shit.
Oh.
So, I was even getting calls on my cell phone a few weeks ago from the IRS. Oh. Apparently, I owed them a large sum of money.
I got those same phone calls.
Yeah, but I could settle it easily if I just sent them $90 or whatever it was.
They didn't even go that far. I just got, we have a very serious matter with the IRS. You need to call us back.
Yeah.
But that was it. But they didn't mention me by name.
Yeah.
They weren't like, hey, Chuck Smith.
Yeah, I was looking around actually doing this show, and apparently there's a phone number you're supposed to call.
And report those?
Yeah, from the IRS. You're supposed to call the IRS and tell them the phone number that called you. Way
back, I actually applied for a job with the FBI. This was years and years ago. And I was getting a lot of emails back and forth. Mm-hmm. And so anyway, I get one of those letters from the, African prince or whatever.
Yeah, the Nigerian prince.
Or the Nigerian prince. So I'm like, oh. So I just forwarded to the FBI, and they're like, yeah, we don't care, dude. We get those all the time. We just throw that shit out. We don't want to know.
Uh-huh.
They were like, we don't have time for that kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, there's actually a point when I was depositing a fairly large check in the bank, and they made a point to get the manager to ask me and make sure that the check came from somebody I knew.
Oh.
Because the way that scam works is they send you a check that you deposit, and then you send them a portion of the money back.
That's smart.
So the check obviously takes a while because it's coming from Nigeria. You take money out of your account and send it to them, and then that check bounces.
Oh, technical foul.
Yeah, so it's basically they're scamming you. You're not scamming the bank. You're not getting away with anything.
Oh.
They're taking money out of your account.
I might have to call my bank after this. All
Uh-huh.
right. So that's something to watch out for.
Now,
so yeah, everybody knows about the phone calls. You get a lot of these. What is it? The blacktop guy, knocking on your door. Yep. Oh, I just did a job and I got extra blacktop. I was just at somebody's house yesterday, and he's like, "Yeah, that guy told me he had extra blacktop from a job."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Yep, I've heard that before."
Yep.
We actually had a local guy who went around with his oil truck and would get people to prepay for oil. And he was in actual business, had a storefront, and he would just take their money and nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'd call and be like, yeah, you haven't delivered that oil yet.
Mm-hmm.
And he just wouldn't answer the phone or whatever, leave a voicemail. And they called the attorney general, and he was like, yeah, I don't know. The guy went out of business. We don't know what to tell you.
Oh, wow.
But he was he registered as a business.
But he was like, oh, I'm going out of business. I might as well just...
Whatever. So, there's always somebody, you got to be sure. And a lot of it comes down to trust. Yeah. You have to decide, do I like this guy? Do I get a good feeling?
They say the best con men are all sociopaths. They don't have that switch in their brain between lying and telling the truth. So they don't have those, telltale signs.
So it's hard to read, right?
Shit. Yeah. You don't, and it's not like some slick, 35-year-old guy doing it. Sometimes it's old women, sometimes it's kids working for people.
Attractive women?
Attractive women, yep.
Ooh.
So,
wait, some of us may be questioning our relationships of, however many
not
years.
all the prostitutes are out on the street, man.
Oh, my goodness.
But, they say the best con is one that the person doesn't even know they're a con.
That sounds right to me.
It's hard to convict a criminal when nobody knows that a crime's been committed. They say something approximately 7% of con artist crimes are reported.
70?
7%.
Oh, 7. I was going to say 70 actually sounds high to me. No, wow. Actually, I have one later we're going to get into, and the guy just, too embarrassed, didn't want to ruin his good name,
Mm-hmm.
So.
All right. Let's
Let me take some here.
Well, I'll start with one here.
All right, what do you got?
Gullible grandparent. Now, we actually touched on this a little bit in the kidnapping issue.
Oh yeah.
This is basically what you would do is you would contact an elderly person.
Okay.
Tell them that their grandson or granddaughter, whoever it is, obviously they're going to find out who it is beforehand, so it seems reasonable. But apparently just been arrested.
Oh.
And they need to get some bail money together.
Okay.
So they need a wire transfer or a money order to get them out of trouble. Now, wire transfers and money orders are infamous for not being... You're never going to get that money back. Oh. Once it's transferred, it's gone.
It's gone, huh? All right. Yeah, I actually... I heard, I don't know, one of these radio shows, they were talking about a big con where they would call parents who have, kids away at college, that kind of stuff, and, like that. And they would call them up on the cell phone, you call mom, and you're they would actually, it was weird because this con was done by people who were in another country, and they were calling somebody stateside. and they would call like a lady, and her cell phone would ring, and she'd pick it up, and they'd be like, "Oh, you know what? We kidnapped your daughter. How much? You're gonna have to pay us a ransom if you want to get her back. We know she goes to whatever college, because I'm sure they got it all off Facebook, and they can. She's wearing that, whatever sweatshirt because they saw her in 40 pictures in it in Facebook, and we got her friend Cassie too, and the whole thing, and then so we got her with us. How much money do you have in the bank? What's your daughter's life worth? And then, well, the most I could get is $2,000 or $10,000 or, whatever. Maybe it's $800.
Right.
Well, you need to drive to the bank right now with me on the phone, and I'm watching you. And I know if you, stop and call somebody else and whatever. And they'll actually have they'll use like Google Earth, and they'll check out, all right, she's going to her bank that's wherever on whatever corner, and then they'll be like, all right, you're driving by this. Oh, I see that, you're pulling up to, whatever, and they can kind of feel it out. No, you don't have the current landmarks, but you can make people suspicious enough, and they're not going to take a chance when their kid's life's on the line.
Right.
And, and they just kind of play it out, and a lot of them actually were tracking their cell phone and knew their location, where they were. Again, it's all your hacker software, stuff they got from Vault 7,
Right.
So they would track her and then guilt her into, wiring the money to somebody while she's on the phone. And eventually, it got caught by, one of the ladies just went to the police station and was smart enough and, hung up or had a second phone and called her daughter. And her daughter's like, no, I'm in class. What are you talking about? But that's the thing. If you're not there, you don't know. How do you react to something like that?
Right.
So there's always something that, always a hustle out there. And there's some sick people in this world. But what else? Or is it my turn?
It's still your turn. Go ahead.
It's still my turn?
Yep.
All right. So I figured we'd start out with maybe some of the street cons. I was talking about you go on vacation and people come up to you.
Sure.
And they're like, hey, I could tell you where you got those shoes. I can tell you exactly where you bought them. Or no, I guess that's not it. I can tell you exactly where you got them. If, you bet me, whatever. And sometimes they don't even bet. They just say, I can tell you. And then you're like, all right, go ahead. And then, you got them on Canal Street here in New Orleans and blah, blah, blah. Because, see, there they are right now. You got them there. And then you're like, yeah. But then when it's a 400-pound 6'5" guy, you really don't have much to say when he's like, you got to give me $10. $10 because I just told you. I won the bet. And you're kind of like, yeah. And those are the kind of things where you're like, ooh, maybe I should just move along. And be like, dude, I don't know. I don't have time for you. Gotta go. You gotta act like you know what's going on.
Right.
Or you might be the mark. That's how it is. There's an old con back in the day called the pig in a poke. And what it was, they would be like, I got a pig. And they'd have it in the bag and be moving around. And, he's kind of fidgety. You might want to take it and get it out of here. People get it home and they find out there's a cat in there. So they paid money and they're not going to have dinner after all.
Unless you're Chinese.
Now, there's a new version of this con that I'm sure you've all seen and probably get where, a guy's standing on the street and he's like, hey, look, I have these iPads. I can't tell you where I got them, but I got a bunch of them and they're nice and they work. And you hold it in your hand, you look at it, turn it on, connect to the interwebs, whatever. He's like, I got a bunch of them in the brand new boxes. You look at it, puts it back in the box, does a little sleight of hand, hands you a box, weighs about the same, seems right. You give them the money. Sometimes they're like, the cops are coming, you better run. You take off, he takes off, and then you open up your iPad and you got some newspaper in there or, an old book or whatever. People go for this. And, you might pay $75 for a used iPad that costs, I don't know what they cost, $600, $100 for a new iPad. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever. But I mean, so that's the kind of thing you want to watch out for. It's one of these, if it seems too good to be true, it might just be.
Right.
You know? They have fake parking attendants. Sometimes, you know, you go to a concert, there's all these like overflow lots and just people standing there, give me $10, you know, whatever. There's these things happen, you know, you don't know. And they even sometimes come out with the big wood sign that says, park here, $10, set it up. Because cops don't know what's going on. They don't know what's set up where. And sometimes they do. And sometimes, you know, the cops will come get the con man. But you got to make sure you're not the mark. It's your responsibility to look out for yourself.
Right. Right. I remember a story about the London Zoo.
All right. Tell me about the London Zoo.
They opened up. There was the city built the parking lot there, and guy came out right before they opened and set up a little booth there. We would collect the parking money, and collected parking fees for about 20 years, and then one day didn't show up to work.
20 years is a pretty good commitment.
Yeah. One day didn't show up to work, and the zoo called the city, asking them to send out a new guy, and they're like, what are you talking about? And it turns out the guy had just been there collecting $5 from every car that came past, and retired.
That's pretty slick, you know? That's some serious amount of coin if $5 or $10 to park at the zoo, and
right,
you know, you get there. You know, they say everyone thinks they're smart until you fall for the scam. And then, you know, it's kind of like you said, you know, 7% report.
Yeah.
And it's embarrassing. You know, you're like, oh, I got took.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's really a numbers game with a lot of the scams. One of the ones I was looking at was somebody was printing up fake dry cleaning slips. Okay. Dry cleaning bills. And they would send the bill out to all the restaurants in the area with a note attached saying that somebody's expensive suit had been ruined by a clumsy waiter, and you charge them $25 for the bill to clean it. And most people would just throw that in the garbage. But maybe 10 or 15 people, 10 or 15% of the people would say, $15 or $100, what's that, whatever, and just send it out. And since it was such a low amount of money, a lot of people didn't even think twice about it and just, stuck the money in the envelope and sent it back to a drop box, P.O. box. And, that's it.
Nice. Well, there's on the internet. I mean, the internet's full of scams, right? So you have people, do the Forex trading or the online casinos or the different things. Now, don't get me wrong. There's legitimate online casinos and gambling and New Jersey, different places, it's legal. So I'm not trying to lump everything together, but you'll have, all right, we'll give you $500. If you deposit $500, we'll give you $500 credit, whatever. Sometimes that's completely legitimate and whatever, it can work out. But other times, and I actually had this happen to a friend of mine in the Navy, and what it was you had to bet the full amount that they gave you like 25 times before they would, you could withdraw. And so the thing was, he would deposit his own money, and you're thinking, oh, well, I have $1,000 in there. I only put in 500. I'm ahead of the game. But anytime he went to withdraw it, he couldn't even get his 500 out because he hadn't rolled it over enough times. And a lot of times when he would get close to the point, they would offer him other bonuses. Oh, but now if you give 500, we'll give you 1,000. And he would and you would just kind of get sucked in, and you can never get your money out until you're just rolling, and eventually you're going to lose. Because, when you play a lot of those games, you're like, oh, well, I'm just going to quit when I win, and then go out. But if you got to keep rolling it, it doesn't always work that way. And eventually what is it they say? The house always wins.
Mm-hmm.
So over time, that definitely is a possibility. I was also thinking, so that's it for street hustles. We're good?
Yep.
All right. I actually read that book, The Wolf of Wall Street.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's a movie, it's kind of almost borderline disturbing and had some weirdness about it, but whatever. But in the book, one of the cons that the guy did in the beginning was he worked for a big brokerage firm. I'm pretty sure this is The Wolf of Wall Street.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe you'll have to read the book. I don't know. But he ends up getting fired. And so he goes and he grabs a bunch of he actually is a salesman and goes out and goes door to door and has a bunch of high-end clients that are investing $100,000, $200,000, that kind of stuff with him. So he takes a bunch of the stock purchase applications,
Mm-hmm.
and he takes them and he goes door to door to all these clients, and he gets them all to give them a check for, $100,000, $80,000, whatever they'll do.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, all right, and we'll put those stock certificates in your account, gives him a receipt from the company letterhead,
Mm-hmm.
and takes the $100,000, and he's good to go.
Mm-hmm.
And he did it over and over again and just kept stealing from people. And it was years. Like you said, people don't even know they've been conned because you just hold.
Right.
Stuff.
If you just bought the stock, you're not going
buying
to sell it.
$100,000 of stock. You're probably not. He's not selling stuff that it's going to bounce tomorrow. This is your long term play.
Right.
And ended up, it was years before people even came forward and were like, oh, and like I said, a lot of people don't even want to admit they got hustled when they realize it.
Right. Right. Do you remember those Extend pills? They were selling penis enlargement pills for a long time.
So when your penis doesn't get bigger?
Well, it turns out that there's no such thing as a pill that makes your dick bigger. I'm just going to put that out there so everybody knows there's no pill that makes your penis larger. It just doesn't happen.
I was saving up. I was going to get... All right.
But there is what they were doing was they were taking these orders. They'd give you a free bottle, but you had to give them the credit card information. But then they would charge you for the free bottle.
Okay.
Well, they said they couldn't refund you, but they could send you another bottle.
That's smart.
So then they would take that $70 and they would invest it in, or they would separate it as 10 or 15 different sales. So when you complain about it to say Visa or the Better Business Bureau,
you get
or
one
anything
knocked
like that,
off, two knocked off.
Right, but it still wouldn't hit the point where they would say, "Oh, this is an issue. We have to stop, start denying sales to this company."
Wow.
So they did that for years and years and got tons of people's money. Tons of small dick men out there.
And there's a lot of things. Like, some people wouldn't consider this an outright scam.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, there's a lot of things where you sign up for one product and then, next month they send you another one and bill you $79 again.
Right.
And then the next month, $79. And some people just let it go. But a lot of people at least lose the first month.
Right.
Or you see all these, join my awesome club for $1, we'll give you the first month. Or even better hustle, we'll give you the first 6 months free.
Right.
And it's a $599 a year value.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you 6 months
value.
free.
Wow.
You just got to put that $1.
Mm-hmm.
Give me $1. I'm going to give you that kind of value. They give you the $1, bam. All of a sudden you get a $599 bill on your credit card. Well,
Right.
you didn't cancel it.
Mm-hmm.
And
if
that
you look at the
renew
end of those
came
things,
down.
it's not really easy to cancel.
And I mean, maybe, but the worst thing is when it's a $49.99 value, because a lot of people get a $49.99 charge on their credit card. They don't even notice or know or care.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, yeah, $49, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't even recognize that name. That could have been a gas station. I don't know.
Could have been my wife. Could have been
Could have
anything.
been my wife. Whatever. So any of these things, in a way, you're getting hustled.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
and you'll see a lot of the situations with that involves things like penis pills or dating sites.
Well,
or
it's hard to complain about the penis pills.
Where people are.
I mean, what am I going to say when they're like, "Oh, Chuck, you can't get it up anymore," and I'm like, "Give me the pills." And I take the pills, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm the one guy who still can't get it up." No.
Well, I mean, there are penis pills that make your penis work.
Oh, those are
They're just
those
not
are
ones
okay?
that make them bigger.
Oh, well, you'll give me some information after the show.
Yeah, we'll talk later.
Okay.
Yeah,
we'll get caught up. All right.
But a lot of the cons, though, involve those sorts of things where people are embarrassed about them and don't want to deal with it. A lot of
those are the best cons.
Like sex toy stuff. They're sex toys where they will take these orders
and just not send it,
and then just not send it. And what are you going to do? You're not going to go to the police and be like, "Yeah, I was trying to get this such and such and
the butt buzzer,
or I mean, I'm sure there's 100 things out there that nobody wants to talk about.
We don't have the good
wanting.
Names of the sex toys.
I don't know. I should have like a list of these things, right?
You would think, right? Well, so speaking of the butt buzzer, I also had a list of bar bets.
Okay.
And that kind of thing.
All right.
So the reason you're like, well, what does that have to do with the butt buzzer? Well, the first one is a hustle called the swallow.
The swallow.
The swallow. So the way this works is you and me were sitting at the bar, and I'm like, you know what, man? Watch this. And I take out a match, and I light it, and I hold it, and I let it go, like burn all the way down to my fingertips, and hold it for kind of a long time where you're like, ooh, that's kind of annoying. And most people wouldn't do that. And I say, you know what? I bet you for the next 30 seconds, whatever I do, you can't imitate and be as cool as me and do the same thing. I bet you $50 you can't keep up with me. And you're like, I'm a badass. What are you talking about? Of course I can. Burn my fingertips for $50. I can do that. So I might do something like that. I say, all right. I take a shot, and I take the shot and put it in my mouth. And I start to, drink it down, and you pick up your shot and drink it down. And you're like, just as manly as you. I didn't swallow it, and I spit mine back in the glass.
You can't keep up, man.
You can't keep up. And so the problem was after the guy does this hustle a couple of times, word gets around. And people are like, yeah, fuck you. I'm not going to swallow it, and I'm going to keep up with you. Well, the guy kind of caught on to this and was like, you can't hustle a hustler. So what he was doing is he would spit half of it back in the glass and wait for the guy and then be like, oh, yeah, and spit the other half a second time. And, so little things like that. It's just...
and if you don't mind losing $10 or $15 to something, funny and entertaining,
because you might learn a trick and be able to talk about it in your podcast, 10 years later. All kinds of things I saw in the Navy. You wouldn't believe what people can do out there.
I knew a guy that had a rooster tattooed on his calf.
Yeah.
And was always betting people that he didn't have a cock below his knee.
And he did?
He did.
There it was. Who knew? There was a guy, a British guy, on a British ship. We were all hanging out, drinking in the bar. Turns out they have bars on British ships, British Navy ships.
Oh, shit.
I was a little jealous.
Joined the wrong country.
Exactly. So, guy's like, I can drink this beer with my dick. And he's really drunk, and you're kind of like, yeah, I'm sure. And so, got like 20 people to bet him $10 each. Sure enough, drops his pants, takes a straw out, puts it through the piercing in his man parts, and drinks that beer down.
All right.
And, well, really, what do you say to that? You're just kind of like, all right, problem solved, There's there's an old trick, like they call it the coin in the glass. And so you're sitting at the bar and you're fumbling around. So you have like the bar glass, put a coaster on top. And if you're slick, you could take a cigarette, set it on the coaster, and set a coin, like a quarter, and balance it on top of the cigarette. And if you're a little drunk and can't balance a quarter on a cigarette, then you could try like rolling up a dollar bill, makes it a little fatter, a little sturdier. whatever works for you depends on your skill level here. All right? You take the guy next to you, and he's like, what are you doing? You say, hey, I bet you $20 I can get that quarter in the glass without touching anything. And he's like, that's impossible. There's no way. $20, I got to see that. Lean down a little bit, blow on the coaster. Coaster flips up. The coin will hang for a second, drop right in the glass. Give it a try. See if I'm not right. I'm just saying, my point is not that you should go out and try this hustle. My point is there are a lot of things that you don't expect. And it's thinking outside the box. And that's what we're trying to do here, is to get you guys to think, hey, this might be coming from another angle that I'm not seeing. Because you're using logic and reason, and they're outside that world, There's another one. Guy takes, the match and holds it, burns down to his fingers, burns his fingers. Ow. If you're holding the match upside down, you really can only get about 5 seconds, and it's going to start to burn you.
Right.
Guy says, I guess the way the hustle works is you keep holding the match upside down, and it burns you, and you put it out, get another one. Finally, you're going to get some sucker who's going to go, hey, what are you doing? And you're like, well, it's funny you should ask, because I read that you could hold a match upside down, let it burn for 45 seconds, and not burn your fingers if you were really, skilled. And the guy's like, oh, that's ridiculous, because he just watched you burn yourself, a bunch of times. There's no way. Oh, you want to bet on it? Yeah, well, sure, I'll give you $20. I got to see that. So if you hold a match upside down and move it slowly back and forth, right and left, the flame will go to the side as it goes, and you can burn it for a full minute before it's going to burn you.
All right.
Con, $20 in my pocket. What am I up, like $100 this episode?
Yeah, you're already raking.
I'm already
money.
raking it.
You need to start going out to the bar.
It's another trick, bar, like take an egg and say, hey, I can balance this on its end. And what they used to do is a lot of times they would put a little salt on the table. They'd set the egg in there, and then when they go to lift it up, they kind of brush away the salt. But the thing is, people caught on to this, and it's not really that clever of a con. But, so you make the bet, you're like, yeah, I bet I can balance this egg on its end, and you can't. So, well, all right, I'll take that bet, but you can't use any salt on the counter. And you're like, oh, fuck, now I'm up shit creek. Well, no, because I'm a con man and I'm smarter than you. So a con man is going to take that egg and shake it really hard. If you break the yolk will settle down to the bottom, and you'll be able to balance that egg on its end, and it'll still work. See? Lesson learned from a con man. See, I'm looking out for you guys. These are the little tricks.
Now, I had a friend of mine named Willie.
Slick Willie.
Well,
he wasn't that slick?
He wasn't that slick.
All right.
He was kind of a shitbag.
Oh, that hurts.
Willie was a stick-up artist. Used to stick up liquor stores in Alaska.
Yeah, that sounds right.
He wouldn't rob the liquor store register. He'd rob the liquor store. He'd pull a pickup truck in the back and load all the bottles up while somebody held the shopkeeper at gunpoint.
That sounds like you're getting a way better score that way.
And then he would go to parties and sell the bottles for $5 a piece. Well, they caught on to this. They were after him. So I met him. When I met him, he was in Florida.
And he was at a party and he happened to have $5 liquor?
No, he didn't have anything.
Okay.
But he was telling me about, he was in New York City and was outside of the airport. And he said a guy came up to him. Was obviously a foreign guy. Looked like he was from the Middle East. And said that he needed to get to Grand Central Station, and would he take him? Well, he said, no, I got other things to do. And he goes, I'll give you $1,000. And pulls out a wad of money and gives it to him. And he goes, just take me to the, Grand Central Station. And he said, all right, I can do that. And guy says, all right, just wait a minute. I have to go get my wife. I'll be right back. And the guy started walking away and said, "Wait a minute. You're not gonna run off with my money, are you?" "No, man, I'm not gonna run off with your money." So he's like, "All right, just give me your watch so I know you're not gonna run off." So I gave him the watch. Guy goes in the airport. Willie takes off. Gets down around the corner, pulls that money out, and it's newspaper with a 20 on the outside, and he just lost a $100 watch.
Sounds right.
Yeah. Willie was kind of a dumbass.
Well, like I said, we're all smart until we get played, know? So, the weird thing is, when I went to do some research for this episode, I typed in con man, and I'm looking up different things, and whatever. So, this one guy's name just kept coming up. His name is Victor Lusig. And this guy's pretty slick. Now, he's supposed to be Hungarian. I saw a bunch of conflicting information. One, his name was Robert Miller, and then he changed it because that was one of his aliases. But other ones, he was born that way, ran away at 13 because his dad wanted him to learn classical violin, and he was like, "Screw that, I'm going to go live in a whorehouse in France." Then he went home, and his dad smashed the violin over his head, and he was like, "Screw you, old man," and, out on his own. So I don't know exactly how he got there, but I do know that this guy sold the Eiffel Tower 2 times. Not 1, 2 times. You're a badass. So here's how it plays out. Somewhere in the 1930s, 1929, the Eiffel Tower is getting rusty, getting run down, looks like crap. Nobody wants to pay any taxes to fix it. They're like, you know what? We might just have to get rid of this thing or move it somewhere else because it's really not working out for our city. So he's like, hey, this looks like some kind of opportunity here. I might want to take advantage of this. So he goes and gets some letterhead, types it up, that he's a representative of the city. He calls all the local scrap metal guys. And he's like, look, we don't want the public to know. We got to keep this hush-hush. We don't want to upset people and have protests and all kinds of nonsense. But this is really a burden on our city, and we're going to have to make some kind of deal to get rid of this thing. And we're wondering, would you guys be able to scrap it? And what would you be willing to pay us for, the opportunity to take it away and do it? So they all talk, and they talk about numbers and different stuff. And this guy, Victor's like, well, all right, I'll think it over. I'll talk to, the town board, and we'll get together and we'll give you guys a call. So he decides who the best mark is. He calls this guy up, and he's like, look, man, and this guy's a foreigner. He's not a Frenchman. And he's like, look, but he's a well-to-do businessman, And he's like, look, man, he goes, I think you're the right guy, but, I'm a low-level government employee, and, I need a little something to sweeten this deal for it to be you. The guy's like, well, what if I threw in 20 grand for you, and then I'll give you 50 grand for the scrap metal? He's like, all right, And later it comes out that this guy's like, oh, I believed he was legitimate because he tried to bribe me. So that's how you know somebody's a real government official,
Right.
So, all right. So he takes the 70 grand, hightails it out of there, goes to Austria, and he keeps reading the papers from Paris. And there's nothing about the con. And apparently the guy was too embarrassed and didn't want to come forward and, ruin his name that he got hustled. So he's like, screw it. Called the next guy on the list, goes back down, gets another 50 grand, and went for round 2. At that point, the police were notified, but he was hightailed it out of there and was gone. Now, this guy is known for a lot of hustles, and I actually probably should have started with this other one. He's known for making the money box. Now, this is a slick move here. Now, what he did is he went and got 100 sequential $100 bills. All right? And he went and he spent his time and he etched off all the serial numbers, but the last 4 or last 2 digits, I guess, and then redid them so they were all the same serial number, all 100. And he then went to a local carpenter, had him make a box that was like 2 foot by 9 inches, and he had him put like 3 dials on the top, and then he rigged it up inside so that there was a hand crank that would feed out $100 bills. And there was a slot on the one side, and you would put in a piece of paper, and then through a magic chemical process, it would basically, the acid would eat through and engrave it, and it would become a $100 bill. And sure enough, one of those $100 bills had come out the other side. Now, the genius part about this is, because of the acid process, you have to wait 6 hours from when you put the paper in before you crank it out. So, sure enough, he'll take it. And he actually was making a little living hustling, riding cruise ships. And so he would go back and forth on the cruise ships, and he would talk it up with all the high rollers and tell them about his money machine, take him back to his room, say, hey, watch this, crank out a $100 bill. And once he really started to master the con, he would actually have him take it to the ship's bank and verify, yeah, this is a good $100 bill, no problem, it's real. Because, of course, it was real. He put it in there, you know. And he would do it 2 or 3 times, but you got to wait 6 hours. So, all right, so he'd preload them with, and this guy was really cheap, so a lot of times he'd even just preload it with 1, you know. And he would sell these boxes from anywhere from $10,000 to $100,000. Now, here's where the con gets cool. All the time, people would come back to him and say, you know what, dude, I didn't wait the 6 hours. I rushed it, and now it doesn't work. It doesn't spit out new $100 bills anymore. Can you sell me another one? He'd be like, you know what, I could do that.
I could do that.
Another guy does 3, and then the 4th one, it doesn't come out, so he pulls it apart and tries to fix it himself. You know what? He must have broke it.
Yeah.
Because it's really delicate. I mean, this
delicate
is
piece of
a
equipment.
serious piece of equipment. So he needed to purchase a second one as well. You know, because that's how the game is played. This guy's pretty slick. Now, he got arrested 37 times and got away every single time. They were like, you know, yeah, we're just going to let you go. Finally, and now they said that he carried $50,000 sewn into his suit jacket all the time. That may have had something to do with him getting out. I'm not sure, but I mean, that might have influenced people a little bit. But he was pretty slick. Let me think. He got some other notes here. So he eventually gets arrested for counterfeiting. That was, he made up some plates, hooked up with a guy, starts counterfeiting, ends up counterfeiting something like $100,000 a month for 4 years. And finally the Secret Service catch up with him, and they're like, hey man, you know, we got you dead to rights. You're going to jail. And he's like, you know what? I know all these counterfeiters, and I will tell you all about them if you just let me go. And they were like, you know what? That sounds like a good deal. We're going to let you go. So they let him go again. And then he finds this sheriff who comes after him and is like, hey, man, you know, you're one of our local residents says you sold him $50,000 worth of government bonds. And it turns out they're all fake. They're all counterfeit. And he's like, yeah, all right. So the guy arrests him, puts him in jail. He's in there overnight, starts talking to the sheriff, and he's like, you stole 20 grand from the town treasury and you got to pay that back? Well, I could hook you up. I'm going to give you 20 grand. So he gives him 20 grand in counterfeit money because, come on. But sure enough, the sheriff ends up getting caught with the counterfeit money. He gets arrested a second time. Well, for a counterfeiting, obviously. He's been arrested several other times. So, needless to say, he goes, and this sheriff's pissed that, you know, he got conned. So he tells him everything. They go, they get this guy, they put him in prison. He takes bed sheets, ties them all together, climbs out the window.
No, that's actually happened before. I thought that was just something from cartoons.
He's the man. Nope. Cuts through the wire mesh on the window, throws the sheets out there, starts climbing down, and the guards see him. And they're like, hey, you can't be climbing out the window on those sheets. And he's like, whoa, friend, I'm washing the windows. And they're like, oh, washing the windows. All right. That makes sense because they were looking a little dusty. Well, you better do a good job. Mm-hmm. And then, sure enough, gets down to the bottom and then bolts off. I believe the exact quote from the guards was, he took off like a deer.
All right.
There was nothing they could do. Have you ever tried to catch a deer? You can't just run after a deer. That's ridiculous. But he does get caught, spends 15 years in prison, you know, dies there, some kind of maybe spider bite on his head. I don't know. Could be. Whatever.
Who knows?
Woke up with a big bump. But that's the bottom line. So I know I got a little detail on the one guy. But the idea is people can be coming from anywhere. And you got to be protecting yourself. You got to look at what, you know, what's really going on. Ask yourself, what do people have to gain, you know, from me? And obviously separating you from your money is most of the time what they have to gain.
That's not just common. Pretty much everybody's trying to separate you
from your money. And you just got to learn how to protect yourself. So, you know, hey, so at the Prepping Badass podcast, we want to look out for you, give a little back. So we're going to take one lucky listener and we're going to hook them up with the Sog Jungle Primitive. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to, now there's probably something in it for me. I'm not going to tell you what that is, but I'm just saying, I'm going to send you some kind of cool knife. I'm going to pay for the shipping. I'm going to hook you up. I won't need to require any of your credit card information. And I think we can work that out for you. But you want to get in the running, you do have to go on our Facebook page. This is where I get mine. You're going to like our page, and you're going to shoot me a message that says, bad ass. Put that in there, and we'll put you in the list. And me and Kevin will go through it and come up with a winner on June somewhere, whatever. Listen to the other episodes, we'll tell you. But basically, the first episode that comes out in June, we'll announce the winner. So, with that, you should be checking out our Facebook page, liking it, even if you don't send us the word badass. Mm-hmm. You might want to head over to Patreon. I don't know if you guys know this, but we have a Patreon page set up. And if you're enjoying what you're listening here, feel like you want to give back a little bit, you know, I feel like I'm conning Kevin and Chuck by not giving just a little bit more. You know, maybe that's what you're thinking. Maybe you feel like, hey, I'm a team player. I want to help, you know, support these guys. Keep the Survival and Basic Badass podcast on the air. Maybe Patreon's the way to do it. Yep. Just putting that out there.
That's right. Contact us.
You guys ever want to say anything to us? You know, tell me that I whine too much. I know one of you has a little concern about how much I used to yawn on the episode. Mm-hmm. You know, if you have concerns like that, you want to shoot us an email at preppingbadass@gmail.com. We appreciate the feedback. We enjoy and read each email that we get.
Yeah.
And
we got a bridge to sell you.
We might have a bridge.
Yeah. Also, this week, tomorrow, we're going to put out another bonus episode on the greatest scam that's happened in the past 20 years.
Bonus episode. So this is a nice long one. And then a bonus episode. Sounds like a banner week. You might want to, you know, think about who takes care of you. So, with that, stay safe, and we will talk to you guys next week.
Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With fishingbooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. Fishingbooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to fishingbooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.